1, 2, and 3, level 1, 2, and 3, you can join the Speakers Bureau. So if you are interested in speaking to Toastmasters groups all around the world, so it's open to all Toastmasters groups around the world, but only to speakers who join Leaders Worldwide or another club in District 57. Great. Awesome. And yes, what's the acceptance rate? I think it's pretty high. I haven't heard of anybody turned down yet, as long as they meet the criteria of being a member of District 57. Hi, Joe. And they meet the educational goals. You do have to submit a 5 to 7 minute video. And so if you don't appear to be quite up to par for speaking at another club, they might ask you to get some more training before they put you in play there. But I think it's pretty, they accept all different levels. Great. So I'd like to welcome our guests. What guests do we have today, Linda?
Hello. At the moment, we have, oh heck, I've lost her. Well, we have our keynote speaker, Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth. Do you want to say where you're calling in from and say hi to everyone?
Hello, I'm Elizabeth Stewart, and I'm from San Jose, California.
Great. And you're our keynote speaker today. I'm so excited to hear from you.
Thank you.
Great. Right in the heart of Silicon Valley.
Right in the heart of Silicon Valley is right. Back in the middle.
Great. And we have Andrea Bell, who's a guest from Heart to Heart.
Oh, great. Hi, Andrea. So happy to have you here.
Hi.
Do you want to say where you're from?
Sure. I live in Oakland, California, in the Grass Valley neighborhood, tucked into this beautiful little private part of Oakland with 3 parks on 3 sides. Wow. Really happy to be with you all tonight. Thank you.
Great. And you're going to be giving your icebreaker speech tonight. I love it. In our Speechcraft breakout room.
And we have Janice Law, who's here from Toronto, Canada.
Hi, Janice.
Hi, thank you everyone for having me here, join you guys. And serendipity, I just saw an advertisement about your club on the official Facebook page for Toastmaster, and here I am. Timing worked out, and I'm looking forward to the proceeding. Thank you.
Great. Welcome. Anyone else that we have, Linda?
I believe those are the only guests we have today.
Great. Okay, awesome. Well, I am going to give it to our Division D Director and Toastmaster of the day, Carolyn Douglas.
Thank you so much. Welcome, everyone. And this is my first time serving as the Toastmaster in Leadership Worldwide, and I'm excited. So we'll do this together. I want to first and foremost announce what our theme is for today. It's Child Abuse Prevention Month. And our keynote speaker is going to share some valuable information with us about that. But before we get into that particular part of the program, I'd like to introduce Kimmy Avery, who is our General Evaluator. Kimmy, would you introduce your functionaries?
Yes, I'm the General Evaluator today. I will be evaluating everything that goes on in the meeting. And I've got a team of people working with me. One of them is our timer for today. And I'd love to invite our timer to come up, and let me find her, because I am also, so let me add the spotlight. So Rosanna, could you explain a little bit about how the timing works?
Greetings, Madam General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters and guests. As timer, I will time the table topic speakers, formal speeches, and the evaluations. I will also alert each speaker of the time they have left using the green, yellow, and red cards, which denote specific times remaining. Table topic speakers should limit their remarks to no more than 2 minutes. At 1 minute, I will raise the green card. At 1 minute and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. At 2 minutes, I will raise the red card. Those giving speeches should limit their remarks to their specific speech times. Icebreaker speeches should be 4 to 6 minutes in length. Most other, and we don't have an icebreaker speech in the main room, so I'm going to skip that. Most other speeches should be 5 to 7 minutes in length. At 5 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 6 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. At 7 minutes, I will raise the red card. The individual evaluations should be between 2 and 3 minutes. At 2 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I will raise the yellow card. And at 3 minutes, I will raise the red card. Today, we also have a keynote speech of 15 minutes. So at 13 minutes, I will raise the green card. At 14 minutes, I will raise the yellow card. And at 15 minutes, I will raise the red card. Thank you, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you so much. And I would also, so now one comment here, when you are speaking, you can shift the image of Rosanna. It says timer in nice big letters. You can literally click and grab and move her to the front of your screen so that you can see the beautiful colors that are going to inform you about what your timing is for the situation, whatever kind of speech you're giving. And now I'd love to introduce Miss Sally Reyes, who is our Sergeant at Arms, and she is our grammarian for today.
Hello again and welcome. Our word of the day is compassion, concern and for the suffering and misfortune of others. I hope you can work that word into your speech. And I will also be counting the ums, the ahs, the ohs, the buts, and the ands, and maybe making note here and there of the most interesting expressions used by someone making a speech. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Sally. Let's see. So as my general evaluation, I'm going to be evaluating the meeting and looking for the great flow of the meeting, as well as anything that we could refine. And now I'd love to invite our, where did she go? Carolyn Douglas back to the stage.
Thank you so much, Kimmy. We are a leadership club, leaders worldwide. And one of the things that we want to do well is constantly have in your mind tips and tools about leadership. And to meet that goal, I'd like to introduce our master leader who will give us some information about being a leader. Our leadership master is Cassandra Garabedian, and she will speak to us between 1 to 3 minutes. Cassandra.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much, Carolyn. Today, I will speak upon what we are discussing about child abuse awareness for this month. And today I have chosen to talk about Miss Oprah Winfrey. As a child, Miss Winfrey, unfortunately, was it's so hard to talk about. She suffered at the hands of a family member. Now, we sometimes think of child abuse coming from a stranger, but that's not always the case. It's not that stranger. that our families sometimes talk about, but it could be a friend. It could be that relative. So it's not that stranger. It's not that boogeyman. It's not that person that we say, oh, be careful. It's that strange man. No, it could be that friend, that close friend. It could be Uncle George. It could be Grandpa. And so for Miss Winfrey, it was a family member, a dear close family member. And so we have to be careful with our children. And it's not just little girls, it's little boys too. And it's just not little kids. Now we're seeing trafficking of teenagers. And abuse can be adults, and it could be men. It could be anyone. So we just have to be vigilant. And we have to believe people when they say that things have happened to them. And I want to read you a quote that I thought really tells the story about being a victim and then changing your mindset and stepping out of that victim role and taking charge of your life. And Miss Winfrey states it this way: step out of the history that is holding you back. Step into the new story you are willing to create for yourself. I think that's worth repeating. Step out of the history that is holding you back. Step into the new story you are willing to create. And then she says this about herself. She says, I still have my feet on the ground. I'm just wearing better shoes. You know, she has a real sense of humor. And it's true. You know, you really have to look at your life and you have to say, you know, it was this way. I can't do anything about what happened in the past. But looking forward, now that's something I can do something about. And so with that, I say we can all do something about what's going forward. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a wonderful reminder for all of us about what we are about.
Yes.
There is this thing called compassion that we can have not only for others, but please remember to have compassion for yourself if you have ever experienced this, and have compassion for others. And I want to segue now into the fact that we have a keynote speaker who's going to share valuable information with us about our theme, Child Abuse Prevention Month. Our expert in this area for today is Elizabeth Stewart. Ms. Stewart has 20+ years working experience with kids and family in Santa Clara County. She's passionate about getting kids linked back to their families and restoring relationships. She's also passionate about empowering families to live healthy lives. Elizabeth has expertise in managing behaviors in the home, family restoration, and reconciliation services. She facilitates and delivers workshops and seminars addressing behavioral needs, emotional functioning, and caring for souls. In addition to this career, Elizabeth is a radio show guest and host. She's a teacher and entrepreneur. I would like to present to you Elizabeth Stewart speaking on prevention in the community. Prevention in the community, Elizabeth Stewart. And the speech is 10 to 15 minutes with Q&A. Elizabeth.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you for the invitation tonight, Carrie and Cynthia. And Miss Cassandra, thank you for sharing the story. Oprah Winfrey's story is a story that many people have, but have not been able to share. So she speaks for many of us who have experienced abuse and neglect in their childhood, teenagers, and as adults. So, so let me just jump in. Thank you so much for the invite. I think, you know, as Cassandra was talking and someone was talking about compassion, the key word for this compassion. Let me just preface my presentation by saying this, is that compassion produces miracles. And whenever someone is hurt, broken, violated, abandoned, neglected, feels unloved, man, a little bit of compassion goes quite a long ways. Everybody likes compassion. Everybody loves affirmation. Everybody responds well to it. And so just think about compassion as an opportunity to fill somebody's love tank. We fill our gas tank, so we have energy to keep the car going. Compassion and affirmation is the same thing. More compassion, the more affirmation a person gets to experience, their ability to endure tough times, their capacity will grow. And I think that's really important. And the other thing I'd like to say is that everything we do is leveraged by relationships. And so as I'm a trauma specialist and working in child welfare for years, juvenile probation, academic settings as a therapist, special education. Everything we do is leveraged by relationships. And the little seeds that I plant in someone's life, the little seeds, whether positive words or negative words, they will produce somewhere along the way. And the key to understanding, one of the keys to understanding abuse and neglect is that, unfortunately, when kids suffer abuse, there's been a seed that's been planted. The real unfortunate thing is that that kid has to now deal with the tree that has grown because of seeds planted by somebody else in their lives. And this is why it's important for us as leaders to see ourselves as change agents, as healing agents. I often refer to our social workers. Remember that you get to help bring healing into somebody's life. You're a change agent, you're a healing agent. You all in this group can call yourselves compassion agents. Where are my opportunities to be compassionate? Simply because there's a lot of hurting folks in our community. So again, thank you Cassandra for speaking out and sharing Oprah Winfrey's story. And again, she speaks for many of folks who have gone through. So I want to jump into the PowerPoint real quick, and I'm going to share my screen. Am I good with that, Cynthia? Good to share? Let's see here. There it is. Y'all, can everybody see that?
Yeah, we see it.
Yep.
All right. So currently, I am very blessed, very privileged to be a licensed marriage and family therapist. I've been in the field for 25 years, juvenile probation, DFCS, Department of Children and Family Services, county mental health, special education. And now in the last 2.5 years, I've moved into working actually with the Department of Children and Family Services as a community engagement specialist, and to help heal the bridge, heal the relationship between the community and Child Protective Services, or what we call Child and Family Services, child welfare. And I'm a representative of the Prevention Bureau. And when we talk about prevention, we automatically think prevention means, what can I do? What can I do? What actions can I take that will keep somebody out of a situation, right? So we want to be proactive and not reactive. Let me say that again. We want to be proactive and not reactive. So I just want to take you through a few slides that talks about our department. This is Santa Clara County. And let me just take you through our slide here. All right, so I'm going to move this around here. All right. So when you're talking about child abuse and neglect, I just want to throw a few things out, throw ideas out here to you. And by the way, I cannot see the timer. So if somebody would just give me like a 3-minute warning, that would be great, because I can't see it because of the screen here. Okay, so the cost of child abuse in Santa Clara County. In our Bay Area, you'll see 2.0 billion. Santa Clara County, 782 million. Since child abuse is vastly underreported in reality, and especially during COVID-19, one of our big concerns is that there was a lot of underreporting of potential abuse that was going on in homes during shelter in place. And that's primarily because a lot of our reports that are called in come from schools. So where are kids during the day? They're in school. Where most of the reports that come in during the school year come from teachers and administrators from schools. So that was clearly a concern this year. 2014 verified child victims of abuse, 14,750 reported child victims of abuse. So that's one child every 30 minutes. The resulting impact, if you go down to the bottom, resulting financial impact can be as high as $20 billion. So think about that for a minute. When we're thinking about cost effectiveness and how we are utilizing our money in a county system, think about what $20 billion can go to do, especially here in Silicon Valley. That money could be utilized in lots of different ways. Not only are we Silicon Valley high tech, we are also Silicon Valley incredible amounts of homelessness in our city, in our county. So there's lots of different ways to look at how we can really utilize, if we can do some preventative work, how we can really change the game of what our community and our systems look like. So a breakdown of 782 million, right? So you look at healthcare, the healthcare costs, you look at the criminal justice. Abused children are 59% more likely to be arrested as juveniles and 28% more likely to have an adult criminal record. Then you're looking at child welfare, how many kids that suffer abuse, because it's not, the abuse happens with the child, but it impacts the entire family. And abuse may happen to a spouse, but it impacts the entire family. So when you're treating somebody, or you're a kid is put into foster care, that whole family is now a part of the system. Not just that child, the whole entire family is a part of the system. And we're talking about education, Abused children are 77% more likely to require special education, which is unfortunately, I worked in special education for 6 years, helping to build programs, therapeutic and trauma-informed programs. And the kids that are struggling significantly, and this is beyond just autism or specific learning disorders. These are kids what we call severely emotionally disturbed, or SED kids. Those kids come from very severe traumatic home environments. The difficult part about kids that are very traumatized and being expected to learn is that it creates a pretty significant tension in the classroom. And so there's lots of different ways and strategies that you have to look at. How do I help a kid who comes to school stressed out because they didn't sleep last night because he heard his parents arguing and fighting, and dad came in and slapped him because he got up out of the bed? That's hard for a kid to learn. And so if you understand what I'm saying, the implications that happens within a family when it comes to abuse is pretty significant. And then productivity over life. I've worked with several kids in the system that have gone through homelessness. They weren't able to finish school. They weren't connected to family, and their sense of performance just decreased. So we want to change the paradigm. If we directed half of what we pay for child abuse into prevention, it would increase. So if you look at the Blue River, it says upstream and there's downstream. There are several mechanisms in place within our county to really help get into a family dynamic to help prevent a kid from going downstream. We don't want to wait. Downstream means once they get in the system, then we'll provide them services. Once dad goes to jail, then we'll get them services. Once mom gets off of drugs, then we'll get them services. No. We want to get into the family dynamics at birth. So we have a First Five program here in Santa Clara County. I don't know if you all are familiar with that. We have a First Five program, and that program is geared specifically for 0 to 5. And there's classes offered, there's mentorship offered, and there's therapy offered to really help support families in addressing those protective factors or those behaviors that parents can put in place to help prevent abuse from happening. All right, and then so we want to we can look at reducing child abuse by up to 48%. So this is where I really want to camp out here. And as I was saying before, I'm gonna actually stop my share so I can just speaker. I want to just connect with you for a minute here. We're talking about prevention. We're talking about having safe relationships. We're talking about how do we build safe relationships within a family system, within the neighborhood, within that local community, and that larger county as a whole. We really want to think about what is happening. If you think about your own neighborhood that you live in, and you think about how well do you know your neighbors? How often do you speak to them? How often are your kids interacting with other kids in the neighborhood?
Elizabeth, this is the timer. You have 3 minutes left. Thank you.
3 minutes?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so when we're talking about prevention, we're talking about upstream. I want to just give you a couple points. Really key that you are very aware of what's going on in your neighborhood, that you know what's going on with your neighbors. You need to leverage the relationships. And I give this speech everywhere I go when I'm in the community. You got to leverage your relationships. Leverage means, hey, how do I strengthen the relationships? How do I find out what the needs are in my community? And how do I offer my support? How do I offer my services? Why? Because when I strengthen relationships, that's where people make the most significant changes. When you're talking about foster care, you're talking about child abuse and neglect, you're talking about people that have been impacted by negative relationships. Now we need to heal trauma. In order to heal the trauma that they experience, they need to have safe relationships now. And see yourselves as agents of change, agents of healing. Because the safer relationships are, the better folks will have an opportunity to heal. Any questions now? Oh, was that a Deborah, was that a wave or a?
Yeah,
Question?
we're gonna take questions in the chat,
Okay.
questions and comments in the chat. So if you have any questions, please post them in the chat and I will facilitate that. I was noting a few things that you said along the way that were just amazing. You said compassion creates miracles. That's amazing. And so true. And that we can be, I think you said advocates of compassion. Did you say?
Advocates and agents of
And
compassion. That's right.
agents of compassion. I love that.
That's right.
And then Kimmy Avery says that safe relationships of all kinds is so essential for children to grow up with a sense of safety in their lives. Yeah, that's so amazing. And Kimmy works with couples so that children grow up in loving homes. It's her main focus, the main reason why she does what she does.
Awesome. Awesome. I would say, can I throw out one more thought, Cynthia?
Yes, please.
So I would say this, is that I myself spent 5 years in foster care system, adopted at the age of 5. So I spent several years trying to figure out what's happening in my world, what's happening in my life, what I want to do. I feel very grateful to be where I'm at right now, because part of the keys of compassion is you help them to be resilient. The miracle is, I lived in the system 5 years. Now I get to have a voice back at the table in that same system that allowed abuse to happen to me in foster care. I mean, where I'm at right now is because 2 parents adopted me, had amazing compassion on me, and invested their time to help me move forward in my future. That's the power of compassion. That's the power of compassion.
Absolutely amazing. And Kimmy says, how do you help a child heal so that they can live a thriving life?
A couple of things. So when you think about kids and you're thinking about their world, they're looking for safety, they're looking for security, they're looking for protection, they're looking for love, they're looking for boundaries, they're looking for rules. And the most important thing for a kid to know is that they're safe. Safety, remember, safety equals love. Safety equals love. Boundaries equals love. Compassion equals love. How do you do that? It's not giving them ice cream anytime they want it. It's by setting boundaries. It's about giving them structure. It's about allowing them to be authentically who they are with some guidance.
I just want to check in with Rosanna. How much time do we have left for the chat portion?
So we have 5 minutes. I can start, timing now.
Okay, great. Awesome. Then Maureen Xavier says, where is the best place to start if you want to be a change agent for preventing child abuse and have experienced and done significant healing from your own child abuse?
A couple of places. There is every county has a Department of Children and Family Services, and there is a child foster care. That would be a great place to call and find out, how can I support a family? What are some of the needs? It's a foster family. And there's also the bio family of the child that's in care. So you can just always call there. You can also look at being a CASA, court advocate, representing a kid in court. And you're just the buddy. It's like a buddy system. You meet with them once or twice a month. You support them on appointments, and support them in court, help them talk to their advocate or their lawyers. And I would definitely say, look at the community-based organizations that are nonprofits that are working with kids and families that are struggling with addictions, domestic violence. Be a mentor to somebody.
Absolutely. And we have a few more questions here. We had a comment from Kimmy: without safety, children can't feel the love. True. And then she also asked, what does CASA stand for?
CASA is a court-appointed CASA is a court, I'm sorry, CASA is a child advocacy services. Child advocacy.
Okay, great. And Rosemary Sweeney is one of our members. Rosemary, are you somewhere there? And she did an amazing presentation on child abuse. And she's from Dominica, and she talked about becoming a volunteer with child abuse prevention hotlines. So that was great.
Awesome.
And one of our other members, Deborah Wiener, says that she is a CASA advocate.
Oh,
Awesome.
good. Awesome. What county are you in, or what state are you in, Deborah?
Oh, she's in California. She's in the East Bay.
Okay, great. We should connect.
Yeah. And speaking of that, do you have some connection points that you would like to offer people? Your email or?
I did put it in the registry, my name.
Oh, in the registry. But would you mind sharing it in the chat
Sure.
so that everyone could have it?
Absolutely.
Great. Great. And do we have some other questions?
Oh, I do.
You do?
Do I say them or
Go
put them
ahead.
in chat?
Go ahead and say it.
Oh, I'm really curious about the United States of America's adoption system, because the only adoption system I know of is through foster care, because we don't have orphanages. I have 5 friends that had to go outside the United States of America to go adopt children, mostly to Mexico and to Colombia. Why don't we have a better adoption system?
Well, so that's a pretty, I'll just say that's a pretty big question. So I'm going to answer it, and feel free to reach out to me. I'll leave my info.
Okay.
But I'll say this, is that a lot of it has to do with awareness. There are private adoption agencies, and then there's county adoption agencies, right? The county is always, you can call Santa Clara County right now. They're always looking for resource parents. They're always looking for folks that'd be willing to take on a child for adoption. So a lot of it is people not being aware of those direct points of contact, resources, right? And I think adoption overall in the child welfare system, there's a lot of promotion from private entities. There's a lot more promotion from private entities than there's the county. The county wants, the county is out there. You can, like I said, you can call them right now, but it's not as prevalent. I guess I just want to say a lot of that's because there's a stigma that has to do with foster care and adoption in the system. That makes sense? The stigmatization and how people.
Yeah. That's great. And so Kimmy asks, how is the financial stress of COVID impacting family services? And I'm just going to read this other one too. You might be able to answer that as well. And it says the Heart Math, it's from Carolyn Douglas, our Toastmaster. The Heart Math Institute has a heart-based program geared to healing trauma in youth, located in Boulder Creek, California. I find it very effective and helpful in this situation. That's great. And then Kitty also says it appears that adoption is super expensive. Is that true? So those are kind of 3 questions, comments there.
So Heart Math is amazing. It's been a while since I've had contact with the program, but Heart Math is really amazing because it really, heart, mind, body connection is really is one of the key strategies of really trauma. The cost was the question was had to do with the cost of adoption. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
And we just have a few minutes left, about 1 minute.
Okay. I can say I don't know the exact numbers around that. And again, it depends what agency that you are working with. It does cost, but I can't say the exact numbers around it, public or private sector.
And were you able to put your email in the chat so that we can connect with you?
Yes, there it is.
Elizabeth Stewart, and I'll read it out to everybody. It's EKSKINGDOM Life 2012@yahoo.com. So it's for Elizabeth J. Stewart, Kingdom Life
Kingdom Life.
012
It should be
at
20.
yeah.
I'm sorry. 2012. I'm sorry. I left that.
2012. You want to repost it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, then we can contact you. This has been just absolutely amazing. We have a lot of questions to ask you further to want to further connect. Okay, so that's let's read that again. EJS Kingdom Life 2021, because that's when you established the Kingdom Life.
2012.
I'm sorry, 2012. Okay, EJS Kingdom Life 2012 at yahoo.com. You want to note that down if you want to make a connection with her. This has been really great. We have a lot of questions for you. We really appreciate your time and coming and sharing with us this very important information. Thank you so much, Elizabeth.
Okay.
Thank you, Elizabeth. This has been a wonderful presentation. So, fellow Toastmasters and guests, I mentioned the Heart Math Institute. I am a Heart Math certified professional, and there's one technique that I would like to share with you. It's called compassionate latitude. Sometimes you may not know what's going on, but you know something is up with a person. We can always go to the place of the heart and allow the compassion within us to begin to flow, and then just raise up the vibration with a happy thought, something good. Just allow that goodness to be present and share that emotional feeling with others that you may experience having a little bit trouble during that day. So I hope you use that technique when you're out and about, or even in the home with folks. Now it's time for us to have a break. Take your break. We'll be on break for about 5 minutes. Go to where you need to go, come back. We have more good program for this evening. We're now on a 5-minute break.
He designates as that. Maybe some of our guests. We have a amazing speechcraft with that runs alongside our regular meeting. Okay, I'm gonna go in just a few minutes. I think
I'm ready whenever you are.
you're ready. Are all the people ready to be transferred? Good luck on your icebreaker, Andrea. Awesome.
All right, so we're back to our regular meeting, and I see, according to the agenda, we have an evaluation coming up. And if that's so, I want to call on Leo Hickman, who will give us an evaluation. Is that correct? Hi, Leo.
Evaluation today.
You're
for,
unmuted.
I'm still muted.
You're good.
Oh, no, you're
No,
good.
no, you're good.
Oh, yes. Hello. I will be doing an evaluation today for Joe, and his speech is on the modern day slavery problem.
Could you announce the path that he is doing the project and the timing of the speech?
We have 5 to 7 minutes, and I do
Okay.
not have delivering level 1, level 2. No, I do not have his path, but he is speaking for
All
5
right.
to 7.
Thank you so much. Our speaker now is Joe Dumbleski. His speech tonight is about child abuse awareness. More specifically, it's on human trafficking. Slavery never ended at the end of the American Civil War and the Emancipation Proclamation. Joe says it just evolved. So I would like to present to you Joe Dumbleski, The Modern Day Slavery Problem, The Modern Day Slavery Problem, Joe Dumbleski.
Okay, and I need Joe to turn on his video in order for me to spotlight him. There you are.
Oh,
Okay.
I'm not sure what
Let
you're
me-
trying to say. No. Okay, you can listen in on my speech I'm going to give, all right?
You are all set.
All right.
And tell your girlfriend hello.
Will do. All right.
你的耳机多少钱 How much is your ear?
All right, let me just pull the speech up for a second.
You might want to adjust your camera so we can see your full face.
There we go.
There you go.
And do you see the timer, Rasana? Do you need me to pin her next to you, or I'll add a spotlight. So there you go. She's right next to you. See her?
I'm going to need to share this. Okay, if you can't, all right, if I can't share the screen, I can't give a speech. Can I please be given privileges to share screen?
Okay, hold on a second. See if I can do that.
I think you have to make him a co-host. Is that right?
Okay, let's see if I could do that. Hold on, Joe. Where are you? Sorry. Let's see. I can't make him a co-host because Linda's not here. So
Can you do it without it?
No PowerPoint, no speech. This PowerPoint is a major part of this speech.
Can you just look at your PowerPoint yourself and then walk through it?
Oh, I guess I can.
Yeah, you're supposed to come at 5:30 and make arrangements for sharing screen. Sorry.
Yeah, we didn't have you set up for that.
We didn't have you set up.
I'm half tempted. Well, fine.
You can look at the PowerPoints and then just speak to us.
All right.
PowerPoints create a barrier between the speaker and the audience, so you're actually better without the PowerPoint.
You know, as a Toastmaster, I would like to ask you this question, Joe. Would you like to have a few more minutes and we go to our next speaker? And perhaps, Kimmy, we could talk to Linda to see if she can help get him
I don't
to have
want
a
to
shared
disturb.
screen.
No, we will not disturb Linda because she's in a breakout, and we can't. Yeah, Joe. Why don't you? You ready?
Yeah, I guess I can give it to now.
Okay.
Okay, and turn your screen down again so we can see your face, please. Thank you.
Slavery never ended with the American Civil War. In fact, it still persists today.
There's a terrible echo. Why is that? It's even on me.
Let's see, let's mute everybody. Oops, and he's coming back. Joe, are you there?
I'm still here. That was just my phone.
Okay.
All right. Slavery never ended with the American Civil War. In fact, it still persists to this very day. Several years ago, a woman named Kendall publicly announced on the Dr. Phil TV show that She was part of an illegal sex trade. She announced in March 2017 that her parents had sold her to an international trafficker. She says that her life began with sexual abuse. She was molested as a toddler prior to developing verbal skills. Another story, Marie had 4 children over 14 years of forced prostitution. Daryl, her pimp, was the father. She was forced by Daryl to have sex with other men for money. But fortunately, she was rescued by a police officer. And then there was a woman named Fella. She lived a normal life until she was 20. But when she was 20, her father died. Her grandmother, to support her family, sold her at a brothel for money. She became another victim of human trafficking. Why do these stories matter? The reason why, and these stories can happen to you too. As I stated, slavery did not end at the end of the American Civil War. As of 2021, 27 adults and 13 million children are modern-day slaves to human trafficking. There are more slaves than any time in human history. What is human trafficking? How bad is some modern slavery, and how does it affect you and me? What can we do to stop it? According to the United Nations Paramount Protocol to prevent, suppress, and punish trafficking in persons of 2000, trafficking involves recruitment, transportation, transfer, harboring, or the receipt of persons by the use of other means of coercion with the purpose of exploitation. Why do people do human trafficking? For several purposes. It might be forced prostitution, forced labor or slavery, forced begging, forced criminality, domestic slavery, forced marriage, forced organ removal, and forced drug trafficking. Slavery and prostitution have often existed throughout human societies in human history. As a matter of fact, the word slave originally originated from the Slavic people, their names. During the ancient Roman times, the Romans forced the ancestors of the Slavs into slavery, hence the name slavery. However, the end of the Cold War has resulted in the growth of regional conflicts and the decline of borders. Human trafficking flourished as a result of this chaos, especially in war-torn areas such as the former Yugoslavia, the former Warsaw Pact, and Russia. Human trafficking is one of the fastest growing criminal enterprises because it holds relatively low risk with high profit potential. You can just take one person and sell them over many, many times, and this could create profit for many different people. Because of how lucrative it is, human trafficking is estimated to surpass the drug trade in less than 5 years. Despite many victims coming from poverty, it is not a worldwide problem confined to third world countries. It is a worldwide phenomenon. It affects many different countries, including our very United States. And it definitely affects the local San Francisco area, where many of our fellow Toastmasters are from. My home city is renowned as the Harvard of pimping. That is Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Even despite the COVID-19 crisis, it may have resulted in closed borders, but human trafficking still persists due to one factor: human vulnerability. This is the traffickers prey on people with advertising and on children and for organs, and often they're sold for money. As I stated earlier, The number one cause of human trafficking is traffickers preying on others' vulnerability. You may be in an unfortunate circumstance, a familiar or maybe experience. Traffickers are trained to identify vulnerability and use expert manipulation tactics to persuade and control their victims. They identify a void and they offer to fill it, but then they do a bait and switch immediately afterwards. Because the individuals are vulnerable, they become desperate for a solution. Hence why human traffickers prey on these people. And the 5 causes of human trafficking based on vulnerability, these are poverty, unemployment, displacement, lack of knowledge or experience, broken families, or even cultural practices. Often, the unfortunate thing about human trafficking is that cases are difficult to identify. Human traffickers are also very well trained to hide the signs. Those that are traumatized are very unlikely to divulge information to investigators, mainly out of fear. They're scared to confront law enforcement because they're often forced into prostitution, or maybe they're too troubled to respond. And often, more effects of human trafficking for the victim: mental trauma, physical trauma, ostracism, and lack of independent living skills. For the trafficker, money, cheap labor, and often escape from victimization. Many human traffickers themselves were at once upon a time trafficked themselves. They often escape from the victimization because they don't want to be sexually abused anymore, or to escape poverty, and generally just to improve their lives and to support their families. There are many different ways to spot signs of human trafficking. Some of these signs are: a person might exhibit excessive fear, they might be nervous and avoid contact, they might have bruises, or they might appear stuck in the work environment, or they have poor English language skills. Yet, more than often, human traffic victims are not locked away in some elite cabal's cannibalistic dungeon like many QAnon supporters would have you believe. No, they are hidden in plain sight, often in places disguised as 24-hour nail salons, massage parlors, and even spas. How to handle human trafficking? The best way is to call the National Human Trafficking Hotline. It is a nonprofit organization run and funded in part by the U.S. State Department. You can call 1-888-373-788 if you see any signs of human trafficking. You can also text 233-733 anytime, or chat on their live website. Do we have enough time to talk about the other signs of how to handle human trafficking?
No, you're out of time.
Mother of God. Well, in one of the other I will say, before I conclude, I will give this. One other way to stop human trafficking: don't watch porn. Also, believe it or not, take pictures of your hotel room. Just spread awareness. No action is too small. Never underestimate the difference you can make in someone's life through one small act of kindness. Back to you.
Thank you so much. Let's have 1 minute of silence, please, while we give the evaluator time to jot down some notes.
The minute is up.
Thank you so much. Now, I'd like to call on our next evaluator, Michelle Tony, to give the objectives of our next speaker, Kathleen Peel's speech. Michelle. Is Michelle with us?
I'm on mute. I'm sorry. I'm just talking. Okay, so unfortunately, I don't have any information on Kathleen. It was a last minute ask of me to be the evaluator, so I will just go ahead and get a form for Kathleen, but I will go ahead and take notes. So if you just don't mind, she can go ahead and get started.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Kathleen? Kathleen, could you come on, please? I'd like to ask a couple of questions of you.
Hi there.
Could you tell
by the
us?
way, it's Visionary Communications Level 1 speech is the first speech of evaluation and feedback. It should be in the agenda there.
All right. Here's your introduction. Kathleen ponders what we have in common with great changers. Kathleen Peel, our bright star, Kathleen Peel.
Thank you, Carolyn. What do the notorious RBG and RuPaul have in common? For the benefit of my international friends, I'll explain that Ruth Bader Ginsburg was a United States Supreme Court judge, and RuPaul is a flaming TV drag star. Kind of hard to compare these two at all, but wait, maybe there is something in common. Let's visit Ruth Bader Ginsburg. Over 6 decades, she became a diminutive titan of the United States Supreme Court who actually changed the law of the land to make the country more humane, so that when she was in her 80s, 20-somethings made her their rock star and tattooed her image on their parts. How did she break so much ground? Fierce wit, Herculean work ethic, yeah, and more. She said she was born under a very bright star that assisted her all along the way. Being a woman, being Jewish, and a mother, so many doors were shut to her as a matter of course. But her native gifts and a kind of suprahuman force brought her to and then through door after closed door, like she was beckoned by her vision. Now, what was that bright star? Well, it was her native gifts that she had to bring to bear in her world. A kind of imperative of fulfillment called her. And when she actualized those gifts, she recreated reality. Now let's visit RuPaul. He has a very popular TV show in the United States, like a beauty contest or the drag set. And from his platform, he is a changer and a healer and a mentor. But how can I compare him to RBG? Well, let me tell you a little something about RuPaul. He's over 60 now, so he started out with a few doors closed to him. Born Black and gay, totally rejecting the rules. That's not just shut doors, that can get you killed. But he is so well fueled by his talents and so certain, he just busted open the matter-of-fact world and made it afresh. It didn't just happen though. Like Ginsburg, he had to do it strategically over time. Initially, drag wasn't his thing. His was the New York punk performance art scene, But in punk drag, he found a toehold for disruption where he could bring homosexuality and being weird out from the taboo underworld and into an exuberant defiance of conformity. So soon enough, drag and the establishment found themselves mixing into color and humor and laughter. So now millions enjoy themselves and what he has to offer in play. As he made room for his bright star, he helped our world be just a little more florid, less fearful, more good-hearted. Now, I'm no heroic figure like these guys, but the world still needs my best, and it needs your best. So how can I learn to connect to that bright star? And how can you? How it worked for me is I used to believe I don't belong, that I was weird and underworld. These old, largely unconscious beliefs weren't true, but they prevented me from giving my best. They hijacked my mind. The neural pathways ran in my brain and hijacked my mind. How rude, how ridiculous. Old neural circuitry is keeping my gifts in bondage? Well, I don't think so. So, encouraged by the decades of neuroscience research showing the relationship between neuroplasticity and consciousness, I sat down with my creative imagination and I went to work. See, neuroscience demonstrates how using neural pathways reinforces them. Conversely, disuse of those pathways makes them go silent. So I simply looked at the difference between what I knew was wrong and knew was painful and what was full of love and life. And I looked some more and I widened the gap and I widened the gap and I took space. I saw the difference, I peeled away, and with my creative imagination, I deprived the reinforcing energy out of one set of pathways, and I fed new, vital, joyous pathways. I dropped the old, nourished the new, nourished the true. And strangely enough, that little exercise has been key in my own growth. I can't give you the full explanation of something kind of mysterious, but I can tell you, when I keep a watch on my star grows brighter and I grow brighter. I'm more passionate, I'm more creative, more loving and connected. And so, to paraphrase my teacher, RuPaul, if you can't love your life, how the hell you gonna love the world? Madam Toastmaster.
You're muted, Kat.
Sorry, I was muted. Thank you so much for your speech. I love the boa. Now let's have 1 minute of silence, please. 1 minute of silence.
Yes, he is.
The minute's up.
Thank you so much. Now it's time for our table topics for the evening. And I would like to call on Rosemary Sweeney as our table topics master to take it away. Rosemary.
Thank you and good evening once again, everyone. This evening, our theme is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and we have to be cognizant of that because it is happening right there in our faces, and sometimes we are just not aware. My first speaker, I would like to call on one of our guests. But I'm not seeing our guests.
I don't see any guests.
No, all of them went over to the room, so I will go eeny, meeny, miny, mo, and anyone will be called. The United Nations Sustainable Development Goals number 16, target number 2, seeks to end child abuse, exploitation, trafficking, and all forms of violence against children. Sally, how do you think you can assist in achieving this goal before 2030? Sally?
You have to unmute yourself.
Uh-oh. Oh, Sally has to unmute.
All right, am I on?
Yes, you are.
Well, in my own experience, there were so many children lost in Vietnam at a time that everything was exploding. I found 5 families who had that the children had lost their parents, 22. And I wrote to a teacher to find these children and that I wanted to help them so that they wouldn't be lost because they were on the streets terrified. And so I took them on as my project to save enough money every single month to take care of them for 11 years. I sent them bicycles for each family, coats to keep them warm in winter, and food on the table. And their relatives took them on, but they couldn't afford to feed them. So that is how I prevented child abuse.
That is so good. You were so proactive, and most of us, where we can afford to do that, we should do that. Whether it is in cash or kind, just listening to someone can help them so much. My second question is, during the pandemic, reports of domestic abuse of children declined because the victims were trapped in the home with the abuser. We heard from our keynote speaker that the children would be at school and the school would report, but because of us having to stay home, this could not be done. I am calling on Deborah. Going forward, what suggestion would you make to assist children who lives in such a terrible situation? Deborah.
Well, coming from that kind of experience myself, as a child, I would tell, to be honest, the child to just run out of the house when they have a chance and go running down the middle of the road and screaming, help, help, help me, because there is no one going to know that they need help if they're stuck in that home. And nobody's going to help them if they're stuck in that home. Maybe they'll get lucky and somebody on the street would be opening to help them, because how are they going to get help otherwise? Or if they happen to know or live near a sheriff's office or a police department, to go find their way there. Now, if they're only 2 or 3 years old, how are they going to do that? That's the problem. It's a very big dilemma. And the problem is, most of the time, most people don't want to get involved, or they need proof. So it's a big problem. And if they could find some kind of an adult that would believe them and listen to them, that's my advice to that child. Because when I was in that experience, no one believed me, not one adult, no one. There was no one to save me. So I would wish that there would be someone who would save that child.
Thank you so much. And we have to continue speaking about that so that others can be aware, because people do not believe. Some of them, it is mind-boggling. They cannot understand that this is being done to children. And my next question will be for Michelle Tony. UNICEF.org says that 1 out of 4 children under the age of 5 lives with a mother who is a victim of intimate partner violence. The first, we got something where we are saying that there should be a preventative method and preventative program. How would you convince a mom to run? We heard a while ago that we should tell the children to run. How would you convince a mom to run from this situation for the sake of the child or the children?
Actually, that's a really good question. Oh, I'm on mute. I'm not on mute. Okay. That's a really good question. I mean, from the top of my head, I will do the best that I can by telling any friend that I'm going through situations, even if it's through a code or, sending an email, some type of way that I can message out, letting friends, family members, or even the public know, hey, I'm in a situation where I'm being abused and my children's being abused. In addition to that, I will at least work with my community and let them know, hey, this situation is not just me, it's other people. And then of course, once I do find out if other women are going through this, I would talk to them as well. But I would say my first instinct as a mother who's being abused as well as my children is just try to find an out by communicating in a code, because I'm sure there's some crazy people out there who are probably threatening people in certain ways to not leave the home, or just being very, they have constraints on them. But find some type of way that's very, I don't know, some kind of way that they can at least communicate to friends, family in the community and let them know they're in trouble. So again, that's what comes on the top of my head. I'm sure there's other ways and other people have other examples or ideas, but that's basically what I would do initially. That's a good question. Very good question.
Thank you so much for your answer. And that is true. The victims should try to find ways, subtle ways, to let someone know that they need help. Sometimes it is very difficult to ask for help because the victim sometimes feels they did something wrong and they are not sure what they did, but we should encourage and speak about it as much as we can so that people might feel empowered to come forth themselves and come out of that situation. Because imagine a 4-year-old child witnessing their parent being abused, either the mother or the father. This can have lasting negative effects on that child, give that child nightmares. And I thank all the people who responded so well to my questions. I now hand over to the Toastmaster of the evening. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for those lovely table topics, and I appreciate all of the speakers that we've had up to this point. We have enjoyed your presentation. Now it's time for the evaluative portion of our meeting. I'd like to call on our general evaluator, Kimmy Avery, to come forth to lead us in the evaluative portion of the meeting. Kimmy.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. I found the meeting to be very smooth. The speakers were excellent. Obviously, the table topics questions were very thought-provoking. And useful. I love that they were generating ideas on how to help, because often people don't feel like they can do something. So what advice would you give? I thought that was a great series of questions. I was disappointed a little bit that the technology wasn't set up as well as we needed it to be, so that Joe could give his speech with his PowerPoint as he had hoped. But I did find his speech very useful and filled with great resources. And Joe, if you wouldn't mind also, I know that you put some phone numbers there too, that maybe you can repost those when everybody comes in from the breakout rooms. Those resources
Absolutely.
for
Yeah.
trafficking.
I don't know, do we have a resource that I can email the entire club some extra information on how to combat human trafficking after?
Joe, why don't I have you email or talk to Cynthia offline about that? And
Okay.
then we could figure out how to do that.
Sure,
Okay.
sorry for the interruption.
That's okay. No, that's a great question, because we are focusing on child abuse prevention, and that includes human trafficking, because so many human traffickers were the victims of abuse, and the abusers are victims of abuse. I mean, it's just this whole crazy cycle, and the only way to stop it is to be willing to step forward, and most people are really terrified to do that. So knowing that it's a safe place and that we can exhibit compassion toward people is a great resource. What I'd like to do now is call on our timer, Rosanna Atrea, to give us the timing report. And hold on one second, let me just pin you. I'm gonna replace the spotlight. There you are.
Kimmy, weren't we supposed to do this after the evaluations?
Evaluation.
Yeah,
Uh-oh.
evaluators.
Did I dive
Speech
in too fast?
evaluators. Speech evaluators first.
Oh, I'm introducing the speech evaluators. Sure, you're right. I'm sorry. That was my mistake. Okay, so let me take Rosanna off that. And my first speech evaluator will be Leo Hickman.
Yes.
And now you are spotlighted, Leo, and please give us the report and your evaluation of Joe.
Thank you. Joe, you did an awesome job. Straight out the box, you came with very, very, very interesting facts. You really brought us into your speech with the facts. Now, the elephant in the room obviously was the technical difficulties that we experienced. We were able to communicate through that and get back online and find an alternative. So through that, hooray to the club as well as yourself for finding composure and through that technical difficulty.
Yeah.
That did throw some other spaces within your speech that I think may have thrown you off a little bit. There were some things with the phone, there were some things with the camera being set up. So it wasn't all about the PowerPoint. There were some other technical difficulties that really, really, really played a huge impact today. If those get tightened up, I know that would be an awesome speech just because of the resources.
Uh-oh, Leo, you're cutting out. Oh dear, Leo, you're frozen. Let's see if we can.
I want to go through a few of those. Understood your topic. I'm frozen.
Now you're not frozen
You got
now,
me?
and we can hear you, so you're good.
Okay, excellent. So your clarity was extremely professional. It showed that you did put some research into the topic.
Sorry,
Vocal variety.
I don't know which I
So
pissed off.
actually, Leo, would you be Leo, would you be willing to turn off your video and just do your evaluation without the video, because I think there's a bandwidth issue.
All right. Is that better? You guys have me?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Excellent. So I left off on clarity. I'm going to move to vocal variety now for technical issues again. Vocal variety, I believe if there was a little more preparation, that the vocal variety would really, really come through in your speech. Again, I think the technical difficulties played into some of that. Eye contact was also another one. Played back on technical issues. Sometimes your camera wasn't focused on you. And to that, we weren't able to make great eye contact with you. And because the PowerPoint wasn't working, it also allowed us to see you reading the PowerPoint versus making a connection with the audience. Hand gestures were really, really great. I did see a few that you started to use your hands to count down. So it was there. But again, because it was off screen, we did miss a few of those points. Comfort level, obviously, you put research into what you were speaking about today, and I commend you on that. Very, very great comfort level with the topic, especially such a challenging topic. And you usually don't see a lot of men within that arena. So I applaud you for taking on such a big, vast issue that we deal with heavily in California and the Bay Area, things of that sort, but you know, Milwaukee and other places as well. You excelled at really accepting a difficult topic and communicating it effectively. Human vulnerability, I really like the way that you brought that in as a solution, or not as a solution, but the thing that's hugely exposing people. Human vulnerability is what's exposing them. Things you may want to work on: prepping the host beforehand, PowerPoints, things of that sort. Just your wish list. You do want to prep the host beforehand. Organization of your speech, really making sure that in the middle of your speech, you're not pausing to ask how much time you have left. Things to challenge yourself on. I really, really, really enjoy the detail and the facts that you brought into this speech. I applaud you in doing that, and I challenge you to do it again with maybe not even a different topic, but let's do this topic again and make it work the way it was intended to. And one last piece to push that a little further, possibly bring some more statistics in about men going through sex trafficking and things of that sort. And I think that would really hone it in to you speaking as a male. Overall, great job, Joe. And I know with some of these minor technical difficulties ironed out, I see this being a speech that can take you very far.
Thank you very much, Leo. That was great. And I'm glad that you went off video so we could actually hear your very useful words. And now I'd like to call on Michelle Tony to give her evaluation of Kathleen Pill.
All right. Well, Kathleen, you got my attention right at the start. When you start comparing RGB and RuPaul, I was like, what? Where's she going with this? Because those are two different people visually. But when you started going into detail and comparing them, then it made sense. It really made some good sense. So to me, that was a attention grabber for me. So that was great. As far as comparisons, you know, again, comparing RGB and RuPaul, again, making sense. It really was a really good start of your description on, you know, connecting with your bright star. Because I kind of knew you were kind of going with it with your experience, but it was great, a great mind grabber for me. As far as details, you gave great details on both of RGB and RuPaul to give us into more where you wanted to go with the actual speech itself. Great hand gestures throughout the speech. Eye contact was good. You were, you know, I saw you, you know, roaming through the screen, looking at all the different squares. And of course, you would always focus on the middle. So great eye contact. And then when you started talking about your own bright star, you did light up even more when you started talking about that. Also, what intrigued me, because I'm a person who likes research, you talked about the neuroscience on how you connected yourself on making yourself a brighter person or brighter star. So that intrigued me because again, I like research and I really got into the details on that. As far as you applying yourself on being a bright star, you basically opened up and came vulnerable on how you started, you know, yourself, and you were kind of playing yourself down, and all of a sudden when you started talking about neuroscience and comparing, you start talking about using creative pathways, it really, really, really brightened your speech. You were very uplifting when you start talking about that. Sharing your experience, I think, again, like I said, that's a great way of your, one of the things you did in your speech. The last thing that I wanted to talk about that was great was your prop. I love props. And when you had that white boa, that was a good one. That was a good ending. That was great. That was great. As far as anything to improve, I mean, I've heard you speak before, and from what I've heard you speak before to now, you really, really have grown as a speaker. So to me, and again, if somebody else was evaluating, they can probably give you some tidbits, but to me, it was an overall fabulous speech. You did great. Again, it was an attention grabber. You gave details, eye contact, hand gestures. It was funny. You did, you know, the voice in and out. To me, it was good. So very good, Kathleen. And don't forget to send me your evaluation form. Thank you.
Great job, Michelle. Thank you so much. So now what I would like to do now, I'd like to invite Rosanna Atreya up to give the timing report.
Thank you, Madam General Evaluator. So we had a few different kinds of speeches today. We had a keynote speaker who spoke for well under 15 minutes, so she was on time. And Joe Domleski's speech was 5 to 7 minutes. I clocked him at 9 minutes and 17 seconds. Kathleen Pill's 5 to 7 minute speech, I clocked her at 7 minutes and 17 seconds. The table topics are typically 1 to 2 minutes, and Sally Reyes was 1 minute and 3 seconds. Deborah Wiener was 1 minute and 33 seconds, and Michelle Tony was 1 minute and 34 seconds. Evaluations are typically 2 to 3 minutes, and Leo Hickman had a few technical difficulties, so I clocked him at 4 minutes and 2 seconds, and Michelle Tony was 3 minutes and 10 seconds. Thank you.
Dear, I better get down.
Thank you so much. And now I'm going to invite Sally Reyes to the stage to give her grammarian report.
This was fun. I think that Elizabeth used the special word 20 times. And let's see, Cynthia, she used it twice. And Michelle, Tony, 3 uhs and 6 ums. Then we have Cassandra, 5 ands. Kathleen, I liked a comment she said, Herculean work ethic. I just thought that had a lot of power. And Rosanna, 2 ums, 3 uhs, 3 ums and 2 ums. Then we have Elizabeth had a lot of ums and uhs, like 20 ums and uhs. Okay, I think that's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I pretty much gave my evaluation of the meeting. I think overall it went really well. We had a few technical difficulties, and yet I think that the meeting moved smoothly. We were very welcoming, And I am super excited about how much it flowed. And I'm excited that our topic is on child abuse prevention, as well as, adding the topic of human trafficking, as I said earlier. Now what I'd like to do is invite Kathleen Pill up to the stage to let us know about our meeting roles for the next meeting.
We would just like to invite anyone interested in the role of Toastmaster or the role of general evaluator. And then we'll do the rest. I'll do the rest in the background, connect with you. So I'm just wondering who wants to be one of the stars of the show, and who would like to be a Toastmaster? And that would be, pardon me while I check the date.
Rosemary Sweeney says she will be the Toastmaster.
Oh, thank you. All righty. So Rosemary, you are so marvelous. You're fascinating. So I'm really happy about that. And that will be May 3rd, it says here.
Anyone else for the general evaluator?
I will be the general evaluator, Leo.
Leo, great.
Oh, Leo, thank you. I'm so happy to see you. You did a beautiful job, and just your being around is very exciting. So thank you, Leo.
Great. Okay.
So, Ms. President, our beautiful president, I would like to invite you to the lectern.
Thank you. And I'm so glad we got our Toastmaster and our general evaluator. Can somebody mute? They've got some candy wrappers. We've got virtual chocolates, but no wrappings on those. Okay. Great. Well, it's been an excellent meeting. I thought our presenter today was just excellent. And she was brought on by Carrie Kelly, who actually has the theme for the month of Child Abuse Prevention Month. And she's going to be speaking at our next meeting in the afternoon. I believe that's the 29th. And she will be our keynote address. You won't want to miss it. She has an excellent story and something to invite you to. Great. So would you like to share your takeaways from today? Who would like to share their takeaway? We don't have any guests left, but anybody want to share what you're taking away, what you learned?
Cynthia, next meeting is the 26th.
Right.
Oh, it is the 26th?
Yeah.
Yep.
What
Today's
date's
the 19th.
Friday then?
Today's
Okay.
the 15th.
Okay, I thought Friday was the 26th. Okay.
23rd.
23rd.
It's
Okay.
Friday.
Is Friday. Okay, great. Because let me just do the announcements. The 23rd, this Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific/San Francisco time, we're going to have an officers meeting, and we're going to be able to have more of our officers because it won't be midnight. That's why we're having it at 10 a.m. And all of our officer teams will be able to be there as well. And we're going to be having elections coming up in May. And we would love to have you if you want to be an officer, or if you want to be on a team with the officers as part of our VPE team, or VP membership team. We would love to have you think about doing that. The new Toastmasters year starts on July 1st. Great. So do we have any volunteers for takeaways and chocolates? Linda?
No one I can see.
No one. And Andrea, is Andrea still here? Andrea, I'd like
Maureen just raised her hand.
Maureen, okay, we'll go to Maureen and then Andrea. I'd love to hear how your icebreaker went and what you learned from today, what you're taking away. Yes, Maureen.
I took away going with the flow, enjoying myself, and being open to take on whatever role comes as available, that I do it and other people here do it as we go. So that's what I took away.
Beautiful. You were in the Speechcraft breakout room and it's a little more flexible there. But you know, Toastmasters is the place to learn adaptability and flexibility. It's really key. Thank you, Maureen. Would you like a chocolate?
Sure.
All right, here you go. Yum. And Andrea, how was your experience today? What would you like to share that you're taking away with you? And how was your icebreaker speech?
It was lovely being in the breakout room with Linda and Christine. And it was very fun to do the icebreaker speech. It was something that when I had written it out in full, you know, I thought it was going to be well within the time. And I found that as I was giving the speech, I was adding. And so I ended up going overtime a little bit. So now I know I've learned that that's something that I can watch out for, like always plan on adding, because that's kind of how I roll. So it was very positive. I learned a lot from the two of them, and I'm looking forward to the next one.
Great. Excellent. Would you like a virtual chocolate?
Yes, please.
Here you go. No calories, no sugar, guilt-free. Anyone else like to share? Do we have any hands raised, Linda?
No.
I have a question. The video is still off. It's Leo. I was wondering if we have like a club motto or you know, our intention statement.
Let's see. Well, we're Leaders Worldwide is designed for politicians, business and nonprofit leaders, entrepreneurs, and others who want to make a positive difference in the world. We help you make your message heartfelt, authentic, and ready for the worldwide stage.
Oh, that's so good.
Yes. Oh, I just love that. A simple message is, I am my message.
I am my message. Awesome. Leo, do you want to share a takeaway?
I love the group. I really like all the feedback, and I'm looking forward to really getting to know everyone's individual path and seeing where I could fit into, you know, not only grow myself, but also grow others.
Beautiful. Would you like a chocolate? I know you can't see me, but I can throw you one.
I'm all ready. Let's go.
All right, here go with your tea. Here you go. Boom.
On, got it.
Awesome. Couple of you. What's your tea company called?
Classy Hippie Tea Company.
I love that.
Right. Yes, I remember.
You're going to have to do a speech for us on teas that you offer.
There it is.
Leo, could you repeat that?
Classy Hippie Tea Company.
Okay, thank you. I'm a tea aficionado.
Yeah. Well, why don't you put the name in the chat?
Yeah.
And the farm that we grow the tea on is called Herbal Allies Farm. So
Okay.
we are growing our own California tea.
Oh my God. Awesome.
That's so amazing.
Leo, where do you live?
Sacramento.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Great. Anyone else? Did I see Carolyn? Were you?
Oh, I'm just enjoying this because I'm taking down all this information from Leo. And it's like, hey, Leo, where can I buy your tea locally? I'm here in the San Francisco area. I'm right across the bay in Richmond.
Yeah.
Why
and
don't you
Lisa-
put your website on there too?
Yeah.
We're at a few places in Oakland and San Jose.
Okay.
So yep. Mandela grocery store and Deep grocery store and East Bay.
Can we order your tea online?
Absolutely can, and shipping's free.
What's
What?
your website?
ClassyHippieTeaco.com. There's also
Put it in
tea
the
and
chat.
peach.
Can you put it in the chat so people can see?
I
Will
just put it
do.
in for him.
Oh, you
Oh,
did.
awesome. Thank you, Kimmy.
Well, is it a HTTPS or HTTP?
Neither.
It's www.
Oh, well, I mean, you have to do anyway.
Okay. Was that your share, Carolyn? Did you have anything
Well,
else?
what
to
I'm taking away from the meeting today is I really enjoyed being the Toastmaster, and I know that next time I want to go into the speechcraft area so that I can do my icebreaker. And additionally, what I'm taking away, I'm getting this tea. I'm going to get this tea. It's a great resource. I'm getting this tea.
Rock on.
Awesome.
So, Cynthia, what I need from you now to go along with my dark chocolate covered popcorn is the virtual chocolate.
Some more virtual chocolate. And to go with
Yeah.
your virtual tea, but soon it will be real tea. Here's your
Right.
chocolate.
Thank you. I receive it.
Lovely, lovely. And do we have another share, another takeaway?
If nobody else wants to say how much they fell in love with Elizabeth Stewart, I will.
Yes.
Because of, oh my God, where do I begin? Where do I end? The service, the walk, the talk, the knowing what she's doing, the
Yes.
amazing accomplishments, the power that she lends to this so desperately needed, such a desperate need. And I felt that our world was in good hands with her.
Yeah.
I will second that.
Yeah.
Who is that?
Cassandra.
Beautiful.
Yes,
Yeah.
Just gave me hope.
that's so true. Also, I would like to thank Carolyn. Carolyn, you did an awesome job.
Yes,
Very.
you sure did.
Thank you
I
very
always
much. I
feel-
appreciate that.
I always feel comfortable in your hands, Carolyn.
Thank you.
And would you like a chocolate, Kathleen?
I'll take a mango with a cherry on top.
Oh, here it comes. I needed a fresh mango. And Cassandra, would you like to share a takeaway?
I believe it was Maureen that was in the breakout room with me. Yes, I wanted to let her know that she did an awesome job on her speech, and also Isaac. Both of them, they did an awesome job.
Amazing. Our speechcraft is just, it's where it's at.
Yes,
Awesome. Would you like a chocolate?
I sure would.
Here it comes. Woo!
Thank you.
Awesome. So for announcements, we had last Friday, we had the evaluation contest at the district level. So they won the club, the area, the division, and then they went to the division. That was the district, and that was the top one, and it stops there. Next week, we will be Friday night, we will have the international speech contest, and they went through the club and the area and the division, the district, and then the winner will go on to this quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the World Championship of Public Speaking, hopefully from our district. So I hope you can come to that. It's this Friday at 7 p.m. and you can find the link on District 57's website, d57tm.org, in the calendar. Awesome. And then we have the May 1st is our District 57 conference. Oh, it's going to be amazing. We're going to have the CEO of Toastmasters International is going to come and speak. I've never heard him speak. And we're also going to have Darren LaCroix, who's one of my mentors. I've talked about him a lot. He did the speech where he laid on the floor and addressed the audience. I think his world championship speech is from 2001, and I think it's one of the best ever. So you'll want to come and hear him. And then yours truly, along with Tyree Johnson, are going to give a winning evaluations workshop. And so I'm going to tell my formula for winning the 2015 evaluation contest at the district level. I've never shared this publicly ever. I've shared it privately all over the world, but I've never shared it publicly. And if you want to learn about winning an evaluation, come see that breakout room.
And Cynthia, I've just posted both links for the International Speech Contest, which is this Friday night, in the chat, as well as the district conference. And it's just $10 if you have not yet registered for the district conference. So it's going to be really fabulous. So be there.
Yes, great. Thank you, Kimmy. And Linda, do we have anything else to announce?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
Okay, great. Well, thank you again for another wonderful night. I know we had technical difficulties back and forth, but we are Toastmasters and we just carry on. Thanks so much. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
I have a logistical question.
Oh,
Yes, Maureen.
Is it okay to ask?
Yes.
So I thought Deborah was going to be my evaluator, so I had sent her the evaluation form, and then she wasn't there. So I'm wondering, I'm still getting new to Pathways. Do I need to have the evaluation form in order to say I completed it?
You don't need it, but did someone give you an evaluation?
Yeah, Isaac gave me an evaluation.
Okay, and if you want a written one, you can ask him for that. You can send him the form, but you aren't required to keep your evaluation forms.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And sorry, we had a mix up we forgot to tell Linda that she was going to the breakout room. And so, but we're going to have her speak another time. And she's actually going to speak in the main room because she had a level 3 speech to give. So we want to give those in the main room. So don't worry, she'll be giving her speech.
Okay. That was part of my going with the flow.
Good.
Thank you.
You're
Cynthia,
welcome.
this is Leo.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
One other quick question, Cynthia. So I volunteered to be the general evaluator. Is that for next week's the 11 o'clock or the 6 o'clock?
The 6 o'clock one on 5-1 on 5-3.
5-3. Gotcha. Okay, just wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great.
And
Thanks,
Thank you much.
Leo.
And Leo, we'll talk tomorrow.
I look forward to it, Linda.
Okay.
Bye now.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Bye, Joe. Thanks. Great speech. Awesome.